Hello friends, in this video we are going to learn convolution of exponential signals. That is, we are going to do it for continuous time system also and discrete time system also. Let us begin. So we need to perform convolution of exponential signals which are given below. Question number 1, a raised to n u of n convolve with b raised to n u of n. Then we have a raised to n u of n convolve with a raised to n u of n. That is, in second question, as you can see, same signal is convolved with itself. In third question, a raised to n u of n is convolved with only u of n. And question 4 says e raised to at u of t convolved with e raised to bt u of t. So now if you notice something, first three question belongs to discrete time convolution and question number 4, 5, 6 belongs to continuous time convolution, right? So if we learn these set of exponential signals convolution, then it is easy for you to deal with the problems which are based on exponential signal when it comes to convolution. So let us proceed. So before we start with those questions, I'll start with one GP series. So here you can see that we have a to the power k and it is inside your summation where k is changed from 0 to n. So let us learn how to expand this. So now this is equal to, so k value is changing from 0 to n in ascending sequence. So it would be like this, a to the power 0 when k value equal to 0. Absolutely, k will become 1 after this. So it will become a to the power 1, then plus a square plus a cube and so on. We don't know what is the value of n. So in general, I'll say it will go up to a to the power n. Or I can further write it as a to the power 0 is 1. Then a to the power 1 is a itself plus a square plus a cube and so on. I can go up to a to the power n. So this type of GP series has total n plus 1 terms. Am I right? So these are total n plus 1 terms. So rather, when we have this kind of GP series having n plus 1 terms, then it is quite inappropriate to write it in this form. Now for this, we have a small approximation, and that small approximation formula is like this. So this can be approximated like this, that is first term in GP series multiplied by r to the power n plus 1 minus 1 whole divided by r minus 1. So if you see in this GP series, this first term, so when we expanded this GP series, as you can see, we have this as first term, which is 1. Now let us understand what is meant by R. R is called as a common ratio. So when I say R equal to common ratio, what is exactly meant by common ratio? See, it's very easy. So it is nothing but you take any term and take a ratio with the previous one, you will get common ratio. So for example, if you take these two terms, then it is a by 1, it is equal to a. So ratio is a. Or if you take, let's say, a square, then a square ratio you have to take it with previous term. So a square divided by a also you will get a. So every time you can take any term, you have to take a ratio with the previous one. You will always get a common ratio. So it is a cube by a square, it is also a. So a is a common ratio in this case. So remember, R means common ratio. So let us substitute. So summation k equal to 0 to n, a to the power k can be written as first term. So value of first term in our GP series, it is 1. Then it is r to the power n plus 1. R means common ratio. Common ratio is a in our case. So it is a raised to n plus 1 minus 1 divided by a minus 1. So this becomes a formula for approximating the given GP series instead of writing it in a lengthy expression. Alright. So this knowledge is required when it comes to convolution of the signals that we are supposed to do now. Let us start with the very first problem. It is a to the power n u of n. They are asking us to convolve it b to the power n u of n. Am I right? Let us solve this. So we know this. When they ask us to convolve x of n convolved with h of n, we got a standard formula summation. K is moved from minus infinity to plus infinity. X of k, h of n minus k. So by using that standard formula, I can write it in the form of summation. So k is changed from minus infinity to plus infinity. A to the power k u of k and b to the power n minus k u of n minus k. So this is actually your x of k and this is treated as h of n minus k. So we assume that this whole is your x of n and this whole is your h of n. Very simple. So further I can rewrite it like this. K is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Ak dot b raised to n minus k I can write it together and then u of k u of n minus k. Now let me talk about this u of k term. Now this is something which is you are now quite familiar to this. U of k is step signal which is valid from 0 to infinity, meaning that u of k is always 1 where k is lying between 0 to infinity. Am I right? Whereas u of n minus k, so u of n minus k is also a step signal, that is unit step signal, which is 1 when k is lying between minus infinity to n. Is that right? So now we should understand that, see, magnitude of u of k is also 1, magnitude of u of n minus k is also 1. Rather than saying magnitude, I can say amplitude also. So amplitude of u of k is 1, amplitude of u of n minus k is 1, and what we are performing between them is a multiplication. So the multiplication will be resulting into 1 provided they have got a common area. So from this you have to get a common area. So I can rewrite it like this. U of k dot u of n minus k will be equal to 1 only if your k is lying between 0 to n. Now this is provided n is greater than 0. So for n greater than 0, I can write it like this. So this common area you can find it out from this. Is that right? Because u of k is 1 from 0 to infinity and u of n minus k is 1 from minus infinity to small n. Am I right? So we know that for negative areas u of k is always 0. Is that right? But u of n minus k is inverted version, that is inverted in case of time and then shifted by n, meaning that this common area can be taken from 0 to n only. This is it. Now I can rewrite it. A to the power n u of n convolved with b to the power n u of n is equal to. So we know that this u of k dot u of n minus k is 1 only when your k is lying between 0 to n, otherwise it is always 0. Therefore I can now change the limit, that is k equal to 0 to n. Okay, so I can rewrite it like this. A to the power k b to the power n minus k dot what 1. Why 1? Because what is left is u of k dot u of n minus k, but we know that product of it is always equal to 1 between k 0 to n. So now further I can write it. A to the power u of n convolved with b to the power u of n is equal to k equal to 0 to n. A to the power k. So what we had is b raised to n minus k. So I can write it like this: b to the power n, b to the power minus k. In fact, now as you can see, it is k independent, so can be taken out of the summation. Therefore it is equal to b to the power n. Now k equal to 0 to n. A to the power k, b to the power minus k. Further I can write it: b to the power n, k is changed from 0 to n, a by b to the power k. So we know that this whole things, what I'm stating over here, is applicable only if n is greater than 0, because we know that if n is smaller than 0, then definitely u of k dot u of n minus k results in 0, so whole summation value becomes 0. So whatever I am writing, it makes sense only if n is greater than 0, or you can in fact say equal to also. So now this is equal to b to the power n. Now I can expand this GP series. So as you can see, even here k is moved from 0 to n. So let us substitute value of k equal to 0. So let us substitute value of k equal to 0 first. So it becomes a by b to the power 0 plus a by b plus a by b whole square and so on. Am I right? So this goes up to a by b to the power n. So even this series has n plus 1 terms. Is that right? So now I can approximate it like this, b to the power n. So first of all, you have to write first term. As you can see, even a by b to the power 0 will result in 1. So first term is still 1. And if you take a common ratio, how to take common ratio? That is any term ratio with respect to previous one. So it will always give you a by b. So here a by b is a common term or common ratio. So what we have, that is first term multiplied by here a by b to the power n plus 1 minus 1 divided by a by b minus 1. I can write it like this, b to the power n, it is a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1 whole divided by b to the power n plus 1 in bracket a minus b we already had in the denominator, as you can see, and this whole divided by b again. This is applicable only when n is greater than or equal to 0. Please don't forget that. Further, it can be written like this, b to the power n. In numerator we have a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1 whole divided by, I can write b to the power n plus 1 as b to the power n dot b, and here we have a minus b whole divided by b, applicable only when n greater than or equal to 0. So here as you can see, b to the power n, b to the power n get cancelled. Your b gets cancelled. What is remaining? So a to the power n u of n was convolved with, if you remember, b to the power n u of n, and now what we have finally, a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1 whole divided by a minus b, provided n is greater than or equal to 0. So if you don't want to mention this n greater than or equal to 0, you can rewrite the whole term as a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1 whole divided by a minus b dot only u of n, because we know that u of n is always equal to 1 for n greater than or equal to 0, and it is 0 when n less than 0. So what it actually shows you, that is a to the power n u of n, when you convolve with b to the power n u of n, is equal to this whole term multiplied by 1 itself if n greater than or equal to 0. But moment n is less than 0, this whole convolution results in 0. So this is a very important result that you need to remember. The reason why I'm saying that this result is very important, because by using this result, I can actually get result for other set of convolutions which I have stated in a first slide. So how that we need to see now. So what we had is a to the power n u of n when convolved with b to the power n u of n, it's simply equal to a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1 whole divided by a minus b, and this whole multiplied with u of n. So this was our first question. So let me remind you what was second question. Second question was a to the power n u of n. It was convolved with itself, that is a to the power n u of n. So now if you compare this to, you will see that here just b to the power n is replaced with a to the power n. So this can be done just by replacing b equal to a in the above result. So we just replace b equal to a. But now if I substitute b equal to a here, so what is going to happen is in the numerator also you will get 0, in denominator also you will get 0, and 0 by 0 is considered as undefined. Is that right? In this case, we use a L'Hospital rule, which is sometimes pronounced as L'Hopital rule, but most of the students says L'Hospital rule, so I'll go with it. So by using L'Hospital rule, so how to use L'Hospital rule, I'll tell you. See, the problem is if I directly substitute b equal to a, then it will result in 0 by 0. So to avoid it, I won't be replacing b with a. Let us replace b with x. So I'm using third variable. Let b is equal to x, where assume that x is tending to a. Is that right? So I'll write this result equal to limits x is tending to a. Okay. And here we have a to the power n plus 1 minus b to the power n plus 1. Okay, instead of b now we have replaced with x here, whole divided by a minus b. So I'll write a minus 1 or a minus x here dot u of n. So let us apply L'Hospital rule. In L'Hospital rule, what I'll be doing is I'll be differentiating numerator also with respect to x, and I'll differentiate denominator also with respect to x, and then I'll replace x equal to a. So I'll just write the previous term again here so that we'll have a proper continuation. Limit x is tending to a. So what we had over here, a to the power n plus 1 minus x to the power n plus 1 divided by a minus x, and dot u of n we already have. So now this is equal to limit x is tending to a. So as I said, I'll be differentiating numerator and denominator with respect to x. So our very first term, that is a to the power n plus 1, is independent of x. So differentiation will become 0 minus n plus 1 into x raised to n plus 1 minus 1. And in denominator, again, derivative of a will result in 0 and derivative of minus x will become minus 1 dot u of n we already have. See, in the power of x, your 1 and 1 gets cancelled. So finally what we have, limit x tends to a, and here this negative negative also cancel each other. What is remaining? N plus 1 dot x to the power n dot u of n. So now it is quite harmless to substitute x equal to a here. Let us write final result, n plus 1 dot a to the power n u of n. And let me tell you, this is the final result for a to the power n u of n convolved with a raised to n u of n. That is, same signal is convolved with itself. So I insist you to remember at least the standard formula for a raised to n u of n convolved with b raised to n u of n, considering it as a standard one. If you try to remember the final result, then it is easy for you to write the direct result for rest of the questions. Let us go for third. So third question is a raised to n u of n convolved with u of n only. So let us compare with the standard one. It was a raised to n u of n convolved with b raised to n u of n, and standard result was a raised to n plus 1 minus b raised to n plus 1 whole divided by a minus b, and this is multiplied with u of n. If you compare these two questions, you will understand that suppose if I want to bring this standard one in the required form, then it is possible only if you substitute b raised to n equal to 1 or b equal to 1, right? So let us write it, a raised to n u of n convolved with u of n. So suppose if I substitute b equal to 1 in standard form, I'll get this. So in result also, wherever you find b, just substitute it equal to 1. So now this is equal to a to the power n plus 1. So now if I substitute b equal to 1, okay, so 1 raised to anything remains 1. So it will be minus 1 only, divided by a minus 1 dot u of n. That's it. So we don't have to go through that rigorous procedure if we know standard results, right? So for discrete time, we have already done all the convolutions. Now only continuous time convolution for exponential signal is left. So let us begin with that. So let us begin with continuous time convolutions. Question number 4. It was e to the power at dot u of t convolved with e to the power bt dot u of t. Right. So let me just give you the standard result for this. It is e raised to at minus e raised to bt whole divided by a minus b, and it is multiplied with u of t. So try to remember this as a final result. Now let me tell you, students generally ask me, sir, how to really remember these complex things, because there are many subjects and there are many concepts, there are many formulas which we bound to really remember. So these are quite extra things, and it may become difficult for you to remember this. So I recommend you to try to remember this, but in case if it is quite impossible for you to remember this, then we have some alternative also, because once this LTI system is over, we are going to start with a Fourier analysis, and after that we'll go for Laplace also. Rather, solving convolution in time domain, it is easy for convolution to deal with it when it comes to a frequency domain, because we know that convolution in time domain becomes multiplication in frequency domain. So it is quite easy to deal with this convolution when it comes to frequency domain, but then we'll have to actually wait for it. So basically, if I don't want to go to frequency domain and if I want to be in time domain, this is the only approach that you'll have to remember this. Otherwise, by using that standard formula, when you convolute x of t convolution with h of t, so it is an integration from minus infinity to infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. So by using this formula also you can get this result. So I'll start with question number 5, which is e to the power at dot u of t convolved with e to the power at dot u of t. So same signal is convolved with itself. We know that if I compare this question number 5 with standard question number 4, then if I want to convert question number 4 into question number 5, the only thing that I need to do is I have to replace b with a. But if I do so in the result also, then as you can see in the numerator, if I substitute b equal to a, then numerator will become e to the power at minus e to the power at, results in 0. Denominator will also result in 0. So 0 by 0, again it goes for undefined term. So again I'll have to apply some L'Hopital rule here, that is L'Hospital rule. So what I'll do is this e to the power at dot u of t convolved with e to the power bt dot u of t. For this I'll substitute b equal to x. So I'll take the help of third variable x, where I would define my x tending to a. So this is going to solve my problem. So what I'll do now, this is equal to, that is question number 5's result equal to, that is e to the power at dot u of t when convolved with e to the power at u of t. So what I've done is I'm going to replace b equal to x in the final result of question number 4. So it becomes e to the power at minus e to the power xt divided by a minus x u of t, where the value of x is tending to a. Is that right? So again I'm going to do the same thing which I have done for discrete time. So here I'm going to differentiate numerator as well as denominator with respect to x, and once I do so, I'll be replacing x equal to a, and that will give me final result. So in numerator, when I'm differentiating with respect to x, e raised to at independent of x, so differentiation becomes 0 minus t dot e to the power xt. In denominator, what we have again, derivative of a will result in 0 and derivative of minus x will become minus 1. So here negative negative gets cancelled. This is whole multiplied with u of t. So now it is quite harmless to substitute x equal to a. So in final result what we have is t dot e to the power x t. So it will become t dot e to the power at dot u of t. So it is t dot e to the power at dot u of t. So this is the result when you try to convolve e to the power at dot u of t with itself. So this is the standard result when you convolve the same exponential signal to itself. And finally, what we have is e to the power at dot u of t convolve with only u of t. Is that right? So let me remind you, e to the power at u of t when convolved with e to the power bt dot u of t, this was equal to e to the power at minus e to the power bt whole divided by a minus b, and this whole multiplied with u of t. So now if I want to convert this standard function into this, then somehow I need to replace e to the power bt is equal to 1. But when e to the power bt will become 1? Only when if you substitute b value equal to 0. That's it. So what you're gonna do, wherever there is b, substitute b equal to 0, you will get the result. Finally, e to the power at u of t convolve with. Now in this, when you substitute b equal to 0, it will become e to the power 0, and anything raised to 0 is 1. E to the power 0 is 1. What is left here? U of t. So result becomes, in numerator we have e to the power at. Since b value equal to 1, again e to the power 0 becomes 1. So it remains as minus 1 whole divided by, it is a only because b value equal to 0 whole multiplied with u of t. So this becomes final result for e to the power at u of t convolved with u of t. So I'm sure you have understood the significance of remembering the standard functions convolution. Again, if it is impossible for you, then wait for frequency domain analysis. So by using Laplace, it is quite easy to deal with this type of convolution, right? Thank you.